I'm Dr. Lisa Jones. I'm a wildlife biologist, and I am very sad to report to all of you that at the moment we are losing the forest, one of the last forests in Orlando. And in addition to that, the people who are here this morning have been documenting the fact that the swallowtail kites that nest here, they've been nesting here for years, lost their nest, essentially, we believe. We haven't been able to get on property to actually find the tree that would have had the nest, but I do know in watching them, last year at this time I saw them with 3 other birds, which would have been their young ones that they'd raised successfully last year. And I'm very concerned that they lost their babies this year. To fly 5,000 miles from South America to these headwaters just to lay eggs and raise babies, and then the whole family fly back to South America, to have that effort be totally destroyed, totally for nothing, really, really saddens me. And I think it should sadden all of you also, because these trees are being taken down, this forest is being taken down so that the city of Orlando can build tennis courts here. We have so many other sites in Orlando where tennis courts could be built. And citizens have, for the past 2 years, been telling officials who make the decisions that this is a site that needs to be preserved, conserved, not only because of the fact that you have a pair of birds that fly 5,000 miles every year just to raise their babies here, and then they need enough food to be able to make that 5,000-mile journey back, and this forest helped provide that. So it was everything they needed. Provided a tree for their nest, and then provided plenty of insects and lizards in the trees that not only the parents but the babies could eat in order to fatten up for their journey all the way down to South America, because they're flying over the ocean. They don't stop. They got to make that flight 5,000 miles over an ocean. So there's nowhere to stop. They have to keep going. So this is more than a travesty. This is just, I don't even have the words for it. So this wetland forest is not just important for wildlife, but it's also a aquifer recharge area for Wekiva Springs, which means water that filters through this land. This is over 100 acres. This is 130 acres. The water that filters down into the ground from this land goes underground and goes to Wekiva Springs and is part of the water that flows out. And if this land, it's not too late for the developers who are developing to stop what they're doing, because they haven't yet dug into the ground. So they can, although these trees some of them were over 100 years old, because this site has never been touched. So it's going to take a while for the trees to reach the height that they have been. But they can replant trees. They can begin to restore this ecosystem, this forest, and then have the, not disrupt the aquifer recharge process as the water flows from here over to Wekiva Springs. If they do not, we're going to see a reduced flow to the Wekiva Springs, and it's already been reduced. Those of you who have been to Wekiva Springs and have been going there over the years, especially those of you who may be in your 60s, you have seen how it has changed over the years. Wekiva Springs, you could see the water bubbling up, and now you can barely see anything happening. And with the loss of these 130 acres, that's really going to have a negative impact on that spring. That spring flows into the Wekiva River, and the Wekiva River at the moment is having an algae bloom, and this heat is not helping. That helps increase algae blooms. The developers who are developing this claim that they're going to put a stormwater pit in here that's going to clean up water from around here, and it's going to be a better water quality. But the thing is you can't improve upon nature. A progressive way to have treated stormwater would have been to use these wetlands, enhance them, use them to help with the stormwater effort, and also provide a conservation area for people to come and be able to see these swallowtail kites when they come every spring, and watch them and their babies as the summer passes, and watch the babies grow and get ready for their journey back to South America. This was a perfect bird watching area, perfect area to teach children about wetlands, about the Wekiva Basin, and the fact that water goes into the ground all the way over here and travels miles and miles until it gets to the Wekiva Spring where it comes back out again. This was a perfect platform for that. And it really surprises me that the city of Orlando chose not to utilize this perfect platform to be green and sustainable as they commonly say that they are. This was a perfect green and sustainable, a perfect an opportunity to educate people about environmental stewardship and exactly how we can live in harmony with nature and at the same time not deplete our resources, because that's what's going to happen here. In addition, the Little Wekiva River starts here, and what people call Fairvilla Canal is actually the Little Wekiva River. So the groundwater that doesn't go to the spring actually flows into the river, and it starts off really slow, and then after a while it becomes the fast-moving Little Wekiva River that you all see in Altamont. And so the headwaters of a river has to start somewhere, and that somewhere is called its headwaters. So because the Little Wekiva River is the primary tributary of the Wekiva River, the water quality that the Little Wekiva River had was helping to maintain the water quality of the Wekiva River, which is a federally protected river. So if and not only that, it's also state protected. In fact, these wetlands and this wetland forest, they are also protected by state law. And so it's really just amazing that, well, not amazing, it's really sad, actually, that officials who make decisions about what to do with land here in Orlando are choosing to destroy it. Every other, Altamont Springs, Seminole County, they are doing everything they can to save the Little Wekiva River and make it healthy and to save the Wekiva River. The city of Orlando is the only local government that is actively destroying the headwaters, and the headwaters is the most important part of the Little Wekiva River. Once you lose the headwaters, you lose all ability to control the quality and the quantity of water that is flowing from those headwaters. And not only that, it impacts the Wekiva and it will impact the St. Johns River. And so while this is, I could just go on and on. I know we have a limited amount of time. So the take-home message for all of you who are watching this is, one, this did not have to happen. It happened because developers chose to put dollars over the environment, over people's health, because the Wekiva River, if that algae bloom gets worse, and if it turns into a blue-green algae bloom, that's really bad. One, the state's gonna lose a lot of tourism dollars because tourists aren't gonna wanna go to a blue-green algae infested spring and river, and definitely residents aren't going to wanna go. And residents who live there, they don't wanna have to see blue-green algae in their backyard, or when they go to see a river that is at this point is beautiful, but if this continues, there's just, down the road, it's really going to be an ecological disaster. And this actually is already an ecological disaster. It shouldn't be happening. So I encourage everybody to, I really just want to say, please call, email the City Hall, contact the commissioners, contact the mayor, ask them to stop. Again, it's not too late to stop. And we've taken videos of the kites, the 2 kites. Remember last year I said there were 5? There's only 2, and this is the time of year that they're heading back to South America. And I really believe that they lost their nest, that they lost their young this year. And this will be the second time it happened in 3 years. The first time it happened when Foundry Commercial destroyed a 60-acre forest that had their nest just to build a warehouse, an industrial warehouse. They destroyed the forest and the bird's nest that year. Thank goodness they had last year, but it's just sad that this is the second time this is happening to these birds in 3 years. There is no excuse for that.
Thank you, Dr. Jones.
As I said, I'm no expert. You heard it from the expert. And as your next mayor, I'm going to make sure that we investigate every environmental law, state, local, and federal, to make sure that, first of all, our citizens are protected, the health protected, and the environment. Thank you. Stay tuned.